St. Benedict's has the same monastery as here. They share the same monastery. So the first person I actually met was Father Paul Taylor when he came out to visit. And basically talked about the school. At the time, Heather Wassler was the admission counselor along with Chanel. And they came to our school, interviewed a bunch of us, about 10, 15 of us at the time. And I was one of them. And then the connections came to be, and then I got a letter, the award letter from Saint Vincent, saying that I was been accepted. And then I had to join the opportunity program, and that's how I met Dr. Rotley. So when I finally got here, there was a bit of culture shock because everyone around me is just smiling. Hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know who you are. You know, why are you talking to me? You know, it's just your typical New Jersey mentality. Not as open, you don't smile really. You keep to yourself and you mind your own business. That wasn't the case here. And then other things, I had to really adapt. New environment, new culture, new way of life. I was still able to keep myself in check. I didn't lose who I was. As a matter of fact, the experience helped me become somewhat better. One thing I had to practice here was learning how to ask for help. Because back in New Jersey, I was pretty self-sufficient. I can handle most things on my own. But coming up here and it being so different, I definitely had to ask for help. Okay, some of the challenges is I'm going to go back to the patience piece. That's something I struggle with very much because I have a specific mindset. I knew right off the back when I had to ask for the help, reluctantly of course, but I know I had to do it. Some of the students are not. They don't realize it until it's too late sometimes, and I wish that wasn't the case. Because if we can get to the self-realization part faster, that's more damage control we can do. But some of the positives of having the job is that once they finally realize it, okay, now we have somewhere to work with. We have somewhere to go. We can start brainstorming. And for some of those who had somewhat of a plan, it's now we give them the clay, and now we're just helping them shape it. As of now, I am the graduate assistant for the opportunity program. I'm also going to graduate school for counseling education. And I hope to become an advisor, just as my previous one, Dr. Rotley. First would be the book lending. Money was always tight at home. I was one of the few people in my household that actually knew something about, the college system. This is very basic. I'm only a freshman, so when I get here, I didn't realize I'll be shelling out $150 to $200 for a book. I had no clue until I got to into this program, and then I was able to borrow what was available, and that saved a bunch of money. Another thing is I did have my little job back in New Jersey. It was just maintenance work. I've never really seen desk work. That was never really a part of, my lifestyle. It was never shown to me really until I got here. I was hired the very summer I got here. I was trained by Mrs. Painter, former secretary for the Opportunity Program, and she sat down with me and taught me all the ropes. I think the first program I learned is Microsoft Word. I mean, I knew the basics, of course, but she showed me some nifty little tricks. Formatting, making certificates. The other thing was Access and Excel, and basically those programs were used for data entry and as well as extracting data. And the other thing is, I came in here one day. I was applying to become a prefect here at Saint Vincent College. I had no idea how to write a resume, and so Dr. Rotley and I sat down for about a good 45 minutes just drafting up a resume. And at the time, I also didn't have professional clothing that fit, because I guess, freshman 15, kicked in. So I had to get clothes that fit. I went down to their clothes closet, found a fabulous suit. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit anymore. But I was able to put that on, and that's how I did my interview, got the job. So I spent, 3 of those 4 years being a prefect in the residence hall, which has led to me being, the ARHD for St. Benedict today. First things first, and just going back to, my stubborn-like mentality, I definitely get to see that on the other side, because working with some of the kids, they're freshmen, they're starting out fresh. They think they know a bit more than they actually do, not to be rude, but I remember sitting back and being that same way. I can only imagine that Dr. Rottler had to have so much patience with me. So I know patience was one big thing. I had to definitely learn that very quickly, because for some of the students it takes it takes some form of an experience, whether if it's positive or negative. It takes that the experience piece for them to truly understand what it is that they're going for, whether if it's their major, what they want to do long term, or if they're still trying to evaluate whether college is the right place for them. I know I had that question in my mind. Is college the right place for me? And I would sit down with Dr. Rottler week after week, going over, okay, if you don't necessarily know what you want to do, if you're struggling with trying to understand, okay, what is my purpose? What's the next step for me? It definitely helps to sit down with someone. Doesn't necessarily have to be your advisor, but just someone who seems as if they know what they're doing. I would say to that person, start brainstorming. Okay, start creating a plan. What's next? What do you want to do? If they can't figure that out, there will be someone there to help you throughout the process. But in order for that to happen, you have to know when to ask for that kind of assistance, when to ask for that help.